Good evening, and welcome to another episode of uh, what is it? Music Talk Thursday. Hope that you guys have been having a fantastic week, and that fun things are happening for you. You get to listen to some good music during the week. Maybe even listen to my Monday show. Uh, those of you who showed up on Monday, again, it's just constant apologies. Sorry again for the whole issue with the sound. Basically, I had an issue with my preamp that because I'm using an adapter, it needs a DC charger, and I can't find it anywhere. So on the bright side, I did get a chance to actually unbox my keyboard because of it. So my keyboard is out of its box and breathing, and I will have that out for you guys next week so I can show you my fancy keyboard. I love my keyboard, it's fantastic. I'm sure there are many other people that can do way more than I can with it, because it's one of those fancy ones that's got all sorts of knobs and dials. It's a Korg Triton LE 88 key, and I love it. I went with Korg because there's a band called Nightwish, which for those of you who've been watching my show, you've heard me mention them, and they are metal with a female vocalist, and their original vocalist sang opera style over metal, which was absolutely just amazing. And so their keyboard player, who writes pretty much all of their music, or at least did, I haven't been following them as closely since they switched vocalists, but he had a Korg on stage, along with a couple other things, but I got really drawn to the Korg when he was performing with it. So after some time, I decided, okay, it's time for me to get a keyboard. I need to get this Korg Triton LE keyboard because that's what he had. So I got one years ago, and then ended up getting stolen. But I finally, after years, found another one because I don't make them anymore. So luckily, I found one, and I have it again, which is fantastic. So it's used, but it's okay. It has some love. Hopefully, it got some more playtime before I got it. But I plan on working on that some more so that we can go ahead and get some songwriting down a little more efficiently. So that's that for the music. Speaking of instruments, I did mention a week and a half ago that I got a new guitar. So I wanted to show that to you guys just so you can see my new startup. So I'll show you the amplifier first. Just gonna bend down, say hi, it's right down here. And it is a Fender set. As I said, I'm a little more partial to PV, but this little tiny box amplifier here. And what's really cool about it is that with the input I have on here, I can hook my microphone up to it. So if I go on any auditions that need vocals, I can say, hey, I've got my own setup. I can just go ahead and bring that if you've got a place to plug in. So that's the less interesting part for me. The more interesting part is the guitar, which I have down here. I'm just going to bend down and pick that up and keep talking to you guys because it's fun to disappear and give you guys a blank screen for a while. Because why not? Hi, here I am. All right, so this, my new baby right here. So Fender 6-string electric guitar, pickups, plug-in, and I need to learn about electric guitars because I have not had one of these before. So this is going to be one of my new tools for my music writing. But of course, I'm going to have to learn how to play that. I do have an acoustic guitar, so I'll pull that out one of these days. One at a time, can't overload you with all these different instruments. But anyway, so I've got those things here, and that came with a case, cables, guitar strap, and also a tuner, so I could actually plug in that way. Just fantastic. So that'll be a lot of fun once I get to start working on that. I know I told you guys I'd get the house totally clean so I could set up my music station. It's mostly clean, and I did pull out my keyboard, so baby steps, almost there. But definitely should have it done by this week. And reason, fun stuff, because, work kind of eats your life for those of us that have to work for a living at our day jobs, which I do love. I love what I do, and it's absolutely fascinating, but I decided to pick up some extra shifts this weekend, so on top of working my regular job that I had to come in on the weekend, I also had to work some vet tech stuff. So it was a lot of fun. Really enjoy the crew that I work with at my relief shift. They always make it fun, and I had only been there once previously, and that was a couple of months ago. And I got there, and they remembered me, and they're like, "Hey, you're the singing one. Are you gonna sing something for us today? How'd your audition go?" And it was so long ago. It was like 2 months. It's a long time for me. I can barely remember what I did yesterday, let alone this morning. Just I have my notes here, like, what are we going to talk about today? Although most of it is ad-lib, but I like to jot a couple things down to make sure that I've got some content for you guys. But that's how the audition went. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, when was I here? What audition are they talking about? Because one of the most recent audition that I went on, I had mentioned previously, was for a cover band. And I had actually gone on 2 auditions for them. I got to perform on stage, which was a lot of fun. But again, that didn't work out just because the music style just wasn't suited for me. And both me and them were like, well, I don't say like, oh man, I'm awesome. They really loved my voice and they thought it was really good and everything, but it's just not fitting with what exactly they were doing, which is completely fine. So the reason I didn't say it first was because I'm thinking maybe they wanted to go in a different direction. So maybe they wanted, a female vocalist so that they could start expanding their set list and have some more female songs. So, because girls usually like singing girl songs, you know what I mean? Female stuff. And it's just typically easier, especially for people like me. I don't do really well with the low notes, like the woo. That's as low as I can comfortably go. The cats are sniffing the guitar. It's like, what is this strange thing? But anyway, so it was a lot of fun doing the auditions, but that's not the one they were talking about. When I was there previously, they had asked me, they had a guy that was not working that day. He said, "Oh man, you gotta sing we gotta record you. Can you do Mariah Carey, man? He loves Mariah Carey." It's like, yeah, sure. And then I just asked what song they wanted, and like, "All I Want for Christmas Is You." So I went ahead and did like a verse from that, whatever I could remember. And I know the song and I really like it. It's a lot of fun to sing. Those ones, it's easier for me to hit her high notes after I've warmed up, which obviously, I can't really do appropriately at a vet clinic when there's clients in the hospital because it's kind of awkward if your pet's not feeling well and there's people singing in the background. Although it is a day practice, so sometimes they're just there for vaccines and routine care, which is fine. But so I sang a verse for them and they were so excited about it. But the audition they were talking about was for The Voice, because I had an audition for The Voice the weekend following the weekend that I was working with them. So they were asking me how that one went. So I told them it was just a fantastic experience. Totally looking forward to doing some more auditions because it's a good experience for me, especially since it was my first time. I had no idea what to expect, although I did have my friend Cecily that tends to pop on here frequently. She auditioned before me a couple of years ago, so I had a little bit of insight, but I hadn't actually done it myself. So, my nails are sparkly today. Hi, sorry. Distracted by sparkly things. Anyway, so she told me about her whole experience and how that went and things that, just those little things. But until you experience for yourself, it's not really something that you can understand it. It's just, it helps. So that way when I go back again next time, I'll be a little better prepared. I know what they're looking for a little bit more, and maybe I can deliver on that. And so that being said, I'm sure auditions at different shows are completely different because you have some shows that are actually looking for talent, and then you have some shows that are looking for so they can have some, people want to watch people that are awful at what they do thinking that they're good at it. And that being said, it's really sad when people go their entire life and people are telling them that they're good at something, and then they get on a show and it's filmed and goes on TV live, and they just get literally laughed off the stage, and some of these people get really angry. Now, again, are these people actually angry, or are these just actors that they're throwing in to spice up the show? I really don't know because I'm not there, but maybe I'll find out when I go. I do have an audition for America's Got Talent. I did sign up for that, and of course, as always, asking for requests. If you guys have any ideas of what I should do, or maybe some things to put together, or anything, feel free to give me feedback. Always looking for feedback from you guys. As for this past week, I've had a few rehearsals. I have a new friend that's a musician who actually does live shows apparently somewhat frequently out in this area. So I am going to have the honor of doing backing vocals, which is completely new to me. And it's kind of scary because I'm used to being the front person and with nobody else singing really, other than, you know, maybe somebody else doing some backing vocals, which is fine, but it's a very different dynamic. And when I'm doing lead, if I mess up, I can just recover by singing other words. Although that's, you know, it's difficult for me, but it's something that I've been working on when I was with the band that I was in Virginia. And the good thing about it is that when you have originals and you're a new band, nobody knows any of your songs except you guys and maybe your significant others and your friends that have heard you at practice. When you go out and do a show, they have no idea at all what you're supposed to be singing. And even a show that Tori Amos performed, there's a clip on it floating around. It even pops up on my Pandora station every once in a while. I'm not sure if it was the show that I saw because I did get to see her live a while ago, and it might have been when I was there too, but I might just be remembering that incorrectly. But she started singing one of her songs. She started playing it and completely blanked on the words. And then so she's just like, oops, dang, pretty much, and started over and just sang some different words, but the same tune, the way the words were supposed to be sung, just some different words, which is great because when it's all dependent on how you're able to play it off. If you get up there, you're like, oh my God, I messed up. That's horrible. You know, it's like, whereas you should just be like, hey, all right, well, just keep moving, just go right over it. And sometimes a lot of people, like me, someone like me is very focused on lyrics. So if somebody changes the lyric, I'm like, hey, what do you think you're doing there? But most people aren't going to notice that. No offense to you lyric people, because I'm a lyric people, but I know there's a lot of people that are just, you know, all they do is really focus on the music, the beat, the overall feeling. And if the lyrics change a little bit, oh well. You know, there's a couple bands that I heard, and there's not a single, there aren't two recordings of the same song that have the lyrics the same. Like I can't remember what band it was. It was one of the, I think it was one of the bands that's been around since the 70s, but it was one of the songs they did in the 80s. I'll try to find which song it was and let you guys know that next week. But we were doing a cover of it with my band, Lab 154. Well, sorry, when we were Siren Voices, we were doing a cover of this song, and it just blew my mind. I was like, okay, I just found 5 recordings of this song, and none of them have the lyrics the same way. Which one are we doing? Like, are we doing album version, or, you know, so we had to send the link, you know, to our group text to make sure that all of us were focusing on the same, you know, practicing the same song, because it's very different. But that just goes to show it doesn't matter, you know, as long as you're out there having fun and you're playing off the audience and everybody's having a good time. It's just music. It doesn't have to be structured, says the person who likes everything to be really structured. But, you know, again, that's something that I'm working on, which is why this thing with the backing vocals is it's an amazing experience for me, because it's going to give me a new set of tools to work with in my own music, because I can, when I start writing my own music, I've always thought, okay, well, I'm going to have to do some layering because it just gives a more full sound, gives the song a little more body. And so doing this is going to help me a lot in my own music writing. And luckily, the lady I'm working with right now, which I'll give you guys more information after this week, so we'll see how this goes. And she was nice enough to help me and give me some vocal pointers in terms of some vocal exercises to help with my projection, which, funny enough, is something that I've always had issues with. Even though I sing way louder than I speak, which is just fun because I'll be talking to someone, they don't hear me. But if I sing, you can hear me like 2 buildings over. So I should just sing everything I'm talking so that people can hear me okay, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. So Yeah, just want again. So I need to get a DC cable for my preamp to hook into my computer so that Monday will have better sound. So that will be for the music stuff because from everything I'm hearing and everything I'm getting from you guys says that we're good with the talking with the setup that I have currently. And yeah, so there's that. I watched a very interesting video today. I don't know if I want to really post the link to it yet. I might later if I get some more interest on it, try to find a postable link for you. But there was somebody had posted on Facebook a video from one of those people that have, are way better at the social media thing than I am. And it was a 20-minute video on why modern pop music sucks. Now, the reason I'm a little hesitant to post something like that is because it's going to be really offensive to a lot of people. But it's not so much, oh, this is horrible and the older stuff was great, because I'm very much a fan of the older music. And that being said, I was brought up with music from the 50s, 60s, and 70s mostly. And so again, Beatles comes in a whole lot. That's my main one. I had a mixed tape, like audio cassette tape from back in the day that it said like the name of my uncle was like his mixtape. And so we had a copy here and we would play it and I loved it. There were all these older songs and that's all I knew. And it's a lot of the songs you'd hear if you go to Johnny Rockets. Johnny Rockets is a restaurant here in the US, and I know for sure they're in California, and I know for sure they're in Virginia, so I'm going to make the assumption, which I know is bad to do, but I'm going to make the assumption that there's Johnny Rockets all over the US at least. I don't know if they have any in other countries. I highly doubt it. It's very much American cuisine. So with that, it's an older theme. So it's supposed to be the cafes like long ago. So if you watch the movie, Back to the Future, that type of restaurant cafe where all the drama happens, and they have jukeboxes in there. So instead of just having one big jukebox on the side of the inside of the building, they have small jukeboxes at each spot up at the bar and at the tables that you're sitting at, where you can put in your coins, and usually they'll give you the coins so you don't even have to pay money for it. And you select songs, and all the songs are from that time frame. So pretty much any of the songs on one of their jukeboxes, I would know the majority of the words to because I grew up with those. So, like Peggy Sue or I will follow him wherever he may go. And there's so many, can't even think. Anyway, so I'm listening to this video and this guy talking about it and how back then there was so much more variation. Music was very much more individualized, customized. Better words, not coming right now. But these days, everything sounds, a lot of music, and this is what the video is saying, everything pretty much sounds the same. And so you don't have a lot of variation in the tones being used. A lot of the riffs are similar. So many songs these days, and it makes me so angry that I'm hearing songs. I mean, it's good that they're taking it and making it new, but I wish they would kind of give credit to where that song came from originally, because they're just taking samples and just dubbing over and making a whole new song out of it. And there's something to be said for being creative with that. But I know there's a song that I kind of got upset. I really like J-Lo and Pitbull. I love their music, but they took a song called Lambada, which is it's a Portuguese song, and I love it. It's an amazing song. I grew up with it. It's very fun to dance to. It's like the Forbidden Dance. There's a movie by two movies, one called Lambada and one called Lambada the Forbidden Dance. Both relatively cheesy movies, but it's got the song in there and I really like it. But they took that song and they had their the first song that they did together that I'm totally blanking on right now because I'm doing a lot of blanking today. But you guys might remember the beat going. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So I'm sure that'll spark your memories because it's not sparking mine. So feel free to let me know because I'm gonna have to look it up after I get off of the live chat here. But so things like that, and so many people are doing it these days. And so for those of you who are old enough to remember, there was a time when Vanilla Ice came under a lot of fire, a lot of scrutiny. Ice fire, right? Okay, sorry. A lot of scrutiny because he basically did the same thing. He took a sample of a song from Queen, which was Under Pressure, for his Ice Ice Baby song. So to counter that, I saw part of the video, and the thing is, I don't know if maybe it was a matter of it had been the, whatever it is, 20-year lapse in time, so now you can go ahead and use that, and maybe that hadn't passed at that point, but now people are doing this with songs that are over 20 years old, so it's okay. I'm not really sure why it's okay now and it wasn't okay for that. Again, feel free to educate me down in the comments there, because I know people like to do that. So, but the thing that bothered me wasn't even that. At the time, I was like, oh my goodness, how could he do such a thing? People have been doing it for years. They're still doing it. But he tried getting out of it, or he tried explaining it away by saying his song goes dun 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 ch dun 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 ch, and that the Queen song go dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. So he was basically saying that his ch made it a completely different song, which is not the case. Yes, he's adding to it and making it different, so he wasn't just straight taking one song and just singing over it. But I don't know, it might just be a timing thing, but ever since then, when I hear other musicians doing that, it's just really, it just upsets me. But there's always times where I'm listening to a song and I get an inspiration, something that comes over it, especially usually with that, it's more of the new age music that doesn't have any words to it, so I'll go ahead and hum something to make a new song. But even though it's based on what I heard from that song, there's no element of that song that I heard actually in my recording. So I take the humming that I do, I transpose that into keyboard, and then I use what I hummed from being inspired from the other song to create a new track around it. So, and no, that's not what I do all the time. It's just something that I've done, in my slow building of my music. Hopefully we'll get something down within the next, I don't know, couple months, few years. We'll get some originals down so I can perform some of those for you guys. But yeah, so that was fun. And then the other thing this week that happened, completely spontaneous, which so many great things are absolutely spontaneous, got a new game with a friend of mine, my friend Claudia, who is now living out. She moved out of California, so she's gone again. But we've been talking on the phone a lot this week, and she made a comment, and I don't remember what the phrase was, but I started singing a song based on the phrase that she said. And she just thought it was hilarious. And then she just started saying other phrases that are parts of songs. And I just kept going and just kept singing it. And it was absolutely fun and great and uplifting. And it's really interesting because usually during the day, you always see people on Facebook, always, I say always, bad scientists should not use the word always or never, okay? Don't do it because it's wrong. So sometimes people on Facebook will post a lyric phrasing, like just a line or two, and every time I see those, I hop right on. I'm like, yeah, I know this one, let's continue it, and you'll usually get a few people to keep going, and it's so much fun. So in essence, that's what I did, but I actually got to sing it. And so what was really funny about it is she thought I was getting annoyed. I kept singing. I just thought it was the most amazing thing. And so she's like, man, I gotta go to bed now. And this was after probably 45 minutes of this new game. And so she was like, hey, I gotta go. I was like, no more. She's like, oh, I thought I was annoying you. I said, absolutely not. I could do this all day, every day. So once we get a few more people on here that get more chat active, I know the last couple weeks I've actually had like a lot of people in the chat box, which was fantastic. When I get some more of that, what we could do, if you guys want, if you're interested, just throw out a music phrase and I will just sing it in the order that they pop up. Because it's a good game for me because it's kind of ad lib on the spot, like, man, gotta know it now. Which is really interesting because that's why I like working emergency shifts at the veterinary clinic, because you need to be on top of your game at all times. You need to really know your field. So that way, whenever something comes up or something comes in, you're right on top of it and you know what to do and you can follow through appropriately. The thing about day practice is, nothing wrong with day practice. It's just, for me, it's nice. You get to, it's very consistent for the most part what you need to do. You get the occasional emergency, but typically vaccines, spay, neuter. And then if you have something different coming in, you typically know in advance. You can go and do your research, take your time, look into it, which is fantastic. But for me, I'd rather have something come in the door, have no idea what it's going to be, and then be like, bam, I know what's going on and I got this. So yeah, pretty much that same theory with these, what I'd like to do with the music singing thing. And then the following day, kind of all over the place because I'm so excited about the new music game. But following day, she told me she would have a list for me. So she went through a list, but it wasn't as fun because it wasn't as spontaneous. But instead of just phrases, she was just giving me song titles. I'm not necessarily good at that unless the song title is actually in the chorus, which most of the time it is. It's like, or give me the artist names. I don't know artist names. I'm really bad about that. I need to get better at that. So it'll be one of the things that I work on here. But that's about it for now. Have a couple shows just so you guys are aware for this weekend in case you want to catch any of that. First one that I saw was actually really interesting. Hans Zimmer is going to be playing at the Shrine Auditorium, which I thought is fascinating because I didn't realize that Hans Zimmer did shows, because typically I hear the name Hans Zimmer and I'm thinking movie scores, which amazing scores this guy makes. But anyway, Friday, Hans Zimmer at the Shrine Auditorium. Saturday, Ed Sheeran, who also is going to be playing Friday and Saturday actually at Staples Center. And then Sunday, it's going to be Jewel playing at the Hollywood Bowl with someone named Chris Botti. Hopefully I pronounced that right. But anyway, so a couple of big shows coming up this weekend. There's a bunch of small shows as well. And make sure to check out your local shows and go support local music. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe down below, and I will have some more music updates, hopefully more positive music updates for you guys next Thursday. Monday, I should have my better sound system that I had last Monday up, and that way you guys can have better quality again. So sorry again about that. Half my show's gonna be like, I'm so sorry, but we'll get it. We will get this down together. I've got people helping me out. So thank you guys. You know who you are. I really appreciate everything that you guys have been helping me out with. Thanks also for supporting me and hanging out, watching my show. And don't forget, again, subscribe button down there. I was up to 14 subscribers before the show started today. So almost there. It puts us at 86 to go to hit 100. So we can do some live stuff. And other than that, I will see you guys either Monday night for some music and or Thursday for some more chat. 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for watching and have a great night. Bye.